Welcome to Site Building Hub. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to create a portfolio website using Wix. Apart from building the actual website, we're going to go over the process of creating an effective user journey that gets you clients. This is for all of you creating side projects, transitioning towards a freelancing career, or looking for ways to enhance your portfolio. To follow along this video, the only thing you're going to need is a set of images for each one of the portfolio items. Apart from that, you're also going to need a Wix account. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can access Wix from here. Once in the main website, we're going to go ahead and click the Get Started button so we can register an account. In here, it's just as simple as entering an email and creating a password. We can then go on and answer a questionnaire, but for now I'm going to skip it. And finally, we're going to select the Choose a Template option. The template page is going to display a wide variety of different styles, but we're going to go ahead and select the blank template option. In this case, we're going to create a website from scratch. We want to get that total design freedom, but most importantly, have a deep dive on how Wix works from start to launch. Alright, so this is it. This is the starting point of any Wix website. Let's have a quick overview of the interface. I'm going to start by adding a few elements so we can have a visual reference of what we're doing. So I'm going to be adding a box, and within that box I'm going to drag and drop a heading element. In order for an element to be placed on your website, you can either click on it or drag it into the template. And first, we're going to go over this toolset on the right side. Here we can control the styling details of any selected element. So in this case, I'm going to have the heading 3 selected, and as you can see, we can copy it, paste it, we can delete it, and we can also duplicate it. Everything just by using the buttons on the toolbar. And now I'm going to show you a very useful positioning feature. I'm going to start by adding an image into the template. And just making sure it fits within the box, and we're ready. Using the arrangement options in the toolbar, we can now set the position of each one of the elements. I've got the image selected. It's just a matter of tweaking the position so we can place it on top of both of the elements, below both of the elements, on top of one, but below one of the elements. You can basically decide which elements are going to be overriding each other. And right next to that option, we can also edit the alignment of the selected element. We can edit the horizontal alignment or the vertical alignment as well. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to modify the size of an element. Once we've selected it, it's just a matter of changing the pixel value of the width or height of the element. And this is basically how this toolbar can help you design your website. You've got a few controls and it makes it very easy and practical to modify the elements within your template. Alright, so now let's go back to the starting point, a blank template. The toolbar on the left side is what we're going to be using mostly throughout the creation of the website. In this case, we're going to be learning more about it on the go. Now that we got this down, let's go ahead and get started building the website. The structure of this portfolio will consist of two main areas. We're going to have the showcase section, which will be the home page as well. And we're also going to have a project page for each one of the work items in the portfolio. Alright, so let's begin with the home page. A good way to start is by adding all the media files that you're going to be using for your website. Let's go over to the media section and drag all of them in here. This is one of the details that I like to get in check from the beginning. Back in the template, I'm going to start by increasing the height of the first section. To do this, we simply click the drag icon at the bottom of the page and we set it to whatever size we want it to be. In this case, I'm going to set a height of 700 pixels. This section is going to hold the introductory part of the portfolio. The first element in here will be an image. We're going to go ahead and add a new container. Let's go for the images section and select My Uploads option. So this is going to be an image of the portfolio owner. Let's resize the image, and as we move it around, we get guides that are going to tell us the orientation of the image in relationship to the main container. Let's just make sure that it is centered vertically. When it comes to portfolios, you want your visitors to get to know you a bit. Just have an idea of the kind of person that they're going to be working with. The objective in here is to match your personality with the style of your work. In this case, we're going to go for an elegant, minimal, sort of mysterious character. Let's add an element, go to the text option, select titles, and in here we're going to choose a bold title. The owner of this portfolio will be named Sarah H. And I'm going to increase the font size to 55 pixels. Actually, let's make it 65. Perfect. Let's now align it with the picture, and we got it. For the subtitle, we're going to indicate the kind of work that she does. Let's add an element, and within the title section, let's go for a small title. I'm just going to leave it like that without editing the style. And she's going to be an industrial designer. Let's set this underneath the title. We're going to finish this section by adding a paragraph element. Let's go to text, paragraphs, and in here I'm going to choose a alphabetical light paragraph. Now I'm going to paste some dummy text so we appear to have a larger description in here. So just a quick recap, this first area is going to focus on your value proposition. Like I said before, in this section you got to focus on blending your personality with your professional style. Before we continue, I'm just going to bring the title closer to the subtitle. The ideal approach for this section is to be really straightforward. Let's make it as easy and attractive as possible for the visitor to read. For the next section, we're going to go ahead and add a new element. In here, let's select the strips option. Think of strips as containers where you can add and lay out other elements within. We've got pre-made strips and also empty strips. We're going to be using an empty strip. Let's go all the way down to the classic section and select a blank strip. We're going to start by increasing the height of the strip container. In this section, we're going to be setting a showcase for each one of the portfolio items by displaying an image, the project's name, and a brief introductory description. Let's go ahead and add an image element. Just like we did it before, we're going to go right into my uploads option. I'm going to choose this one right here, and the first thing I'm going to do is resize it. We're going to be setting this image on the left side of the template. This is our first portfolio item. To continue with this, I'm going to be adding the name of the project, and I'm going to do it through a small title element. In this case, I'm just going to set a placeholder title as the name of the product. Following that, let's set a font size of 14 pixels and set the font weight to bold. After that, we've got the project description. This is going to be a paragraph element, and we're going to set the font size to 13 pixels. After that, I'm just going to align it with the rest of the elements. Putting together these three elements that we just added creates the showcase component. Now we're going to select an element, press Ctrl or Command key, and click on the rest of the elements. Now that we got the whole showcase component selected, let's copy and paste. I'm going to sort this out on the right side of the template, making sure that it is aligned with the rest of the elements. The way we are going to structure the homepage is by having two showcase components within every strip container. At this point, the only thing we gotta do is edit the elements within each one of the components to fit the different portfolio items. In this case, I'm only gonna edit the image. I'm not gonna be changing anything from the text, I'm just gonna leave it as a placeholder. Alright, so we got the first strip container done. We are going to copy this exact same structure 2 other times since we are going to be showcasing 6 different portfolio items in the homepage. I'm going to make an adjustment real quick. Let's change the background color of the strip element. Whenever we click the Change Strip Background button, you're going to see that we're able to change the color, change the background image, and add a background video as well. In this case, I'm just going to go for a white background color. And now we're going to be duplicating that whole container. First of all, we gotta add the space where we're gonna fit all of this in. So we're gonna go ahead and select yet another empty strip. Following that, I'm gonna set the height to 541 pixels, just like the one above. Once we got it, we can copy and paste each one of the components individually, or we can also grab a whole container, copy it, and paste it into the strip below. Perfect. Let's have a preview and see how this is coming together. I'm going to create one last container so we can have 6 different showcase items. Before we move on, I'm going to go ahead and change the current images that we have in here. The process that follows is pretty straightforward. We're going to be doing the exact same thing. Adding a strip, setting the height of the strip container, then copying the contents above and paste them within the empty strip. The final step of the process is to set the images that we're going to be using for the new showcase containers. And that's it. We got the showcase section of the homepage. Let's now transition into the footer element. This is where you can set contact details and social media components. The footer has already got a previously defined section by default, and it is located at the bottom of your template. The footer element will contain a message to let people know where they can contact you. And I'm going to do it through a classic title. For the subtitle, I'm going to be selecting a Helvetica-like paragraph and set it underneath the text element that we just created. I'm now going to align it to the center and with the element above. This is going to be a written call to action that we have in the website. It will invite the users to the social media accounts, and we will also display the email address in here. If we go over to the social containers option, you're going to see that there's a wide variety of different items that we can display. But in this case, we're going to go for a simple social media bar. Just like I did it with the other elements, I'm going to drag it into the footer and set it at the bottom. Clicking on the Set Social Links button allows us to arrange the icons that are displaying, edit the name of each one of the icons, and the URL where they're going to be directing us. In this case, I'm just going to be including 2 different icons. If we wanted to add more, we can just click on the Add Icons button at the top. You are going to find several other options in here, and you can also upload your own icons. We're going to go back and just finish it off by clicking on the Done button. Alright, let's do some alignment in here, increase the size of the footer element, and finally I will wrap up this section by copying the subtitle element and writing the email address in here. Before we jump into the last part of the page, I want to have a small recap on all the contact elements that we can have. First of all, we got 3 elements that we can add. We can either add forms, maps, or a chat box. We got a set of pre-made forms that can be used for different purposes, and the best thing is they are all 100% customizable, so you can add one of the forms as a boilerplate and then edit the design. For this website particularly, I'm only going to add a simple contact form. After adding another empty strip with the same height, we're going to go over to the Contact and Forms section, and I'm going to select the first form. Like I said, you can edit the styling and you can even delete certain inputs. I'm going to set a very simple contact form just by leaving the name, the email, and the description inputs. Each input field has got a few text controls that you can use to define the visibility of certain labels. And if you want to set a specific field to be required, you can do so by toggling on this checkbox. And like I said, I'm only going to leave the name, email, and details inputs. You can change the input text by selecting the Edit Field button and setting a new placeholder right here. And now I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to modify the design of your form. We're going to start by clicking on the brush icon. In this menu, you can either select pre-made input layouts or customize your own design. Tweaking elements such as colors, borders, shadows, and any text element. Whether that is the font family, the size, the color, or the style. We have seen how to edit the elements, but now I'm going to show you how you can actually set up the form so that every time somebody submits, you receive an email. Let's select the form and jump into the form settings. Once again, we're going to click Settings and go into Email Notifications. Here is where you set up your own email, but you can also set notifications to other contributors. This is the message you display every time somebody submits a form. And you can set different form actions, so you can either display the message, redirect to another page or to another URL, or create a file download. In this case, I'm just going to display the message. The settings and submit message options are the only ones that I'm going to be using for this website specifically. but there are other functionalities that you can implement depending on the type of contact form that you're creating. Let's go ahead and test the contact form by previewing the website. And then here, let's just enter some random data. So we got the submit message, and if we log into the email account, you're going to see that we have a new notification. In here, we have the exact same data that we entered in the form. And that's how you create a contact form. This is the way in which we're going to capture leads from the portfolio website. Perfect. Let's go back to the template. At the moment, we're going to be placing the logo. So we're going to access the media files from the website, choose a logo image, make sure to set it within the header container, and in here, align it vertically. And now we're going to move over to a crucial part of the website. This is what really makes a difference in your portfolio. This is the case study section. The first step is to access the menu and pages option and create a new page. Here, we will immerse the visitor to the narrative of the project. We're going to start by setting the tone with an engaging title. In here, you gotta point out the bottom line of your project. So let's think in terms of delivering a solution rather than a product. And we're gonna take that headline as a compass for the rest of the page. The point in here is to have an in-depth description of the whole process behind the product. I'm gonna be adding 3 images so we get to narrate it visually. And it is very important that you highlight the challenge and the way you solved it throughout the process. Just what were the action items, the steps within the journey. Like I mentioned before, you gotta create a story out of it. In this section, your visitors or potential clients are gonna get to see beyond the end result. This is where they get a taste of your workflow and problem-solving skills. If they resonate with your process, you have a huge chance of getting hired. Keep this very specific phrase in mind while writing this section. Following that, we're going to create a segment that goes into detail on the process involved. I'm going to copy and paste an image, make it a bit larger, and create a descriptive paragraph right next to it. Remember, this is going to be focused on the process specifically. In terms of building the page, it's been pretty straightforward. I've added a few images along with a couple of headlines and paragraph containers. At this point, what I'm going to be doing is setting a different picture for each one of the image containers. This is the exact same process that we did with the showcase on the homepage. But now here's something that we haven't done before, and that is linking between pages. It's very simple. It's just a matter of selecting the text you're going to be using as a link. And just like with any other element, I'm going to style it a bit. I'm going to set a font size of about 18 pixels. And set a text indicating that this is a button to go back to the home page. And now let's go to the text settings box. I'm going to go ahead and make the font size a bit smaller. And following that, let's click on the link icon. And then here you can link to a wide variety of different sources, but also select whether you want the page to open up in a new window or in the current window. And once everything is set, just select your page from the drop-down menu. And it is that simple. This page is now linked with the home page. First of all, let's go ahead and test it out in the preview. Here we got the case study page, and as we click on the link, it's going to take us straight to the home page. Let's exit the preview and build our way back to the case study page. Let's have the exact same text format for the link. So a bold title with a font size of 14 pixels. And now let's activate it as a link and select the case study page. Along with that, I'm also going to remove the underline on the text. Let's go to the preview and test the navigation. We can now go from the home page to the project page and back to the home page again. So the point in here is to have a showcase page for each one of the portfolio items. I'm now going to set a different title for the contact form. And let's go back to the top of the website. We're going to be editing the mobile version of the template. To access it, you gotta click on the mobile icon on top of the screen. You can edit each one of the elements with the same drag and drop functionality. The idea is to fit everything in the best way possible for the mobile view. From here on, the process is very intuitive. For the most part, I'm going to be changing the font size, editing the alignment of a few elements, and changing the layout by creating space between the containers. Every change that you apply in this view will be exclusive to the mobile version of the website. So you could be moving everything around in here and you don't have to worry about the desktop version. You can even hide some elements on each one of the views. For example, you can hide an element on the mobile view and show it in the desktop view and vice versa. To hide it, you just have to click the eye icon on the right side of the template, at which point it's going to go to the hidden elements box. If you want to show it back, you just have to click the show button on the hidden element. I'm going to leave this element hidden and do the rest of the detailing for the mobile view of the website. And now we are on to the last part of the website. We're going to edit the mobile view of the case study page. I'm going to start by going all the way down and increase the height of the page. As we've done it before, you can also arrange your containers by selecting several elements and move them around at the same time. I'm just going to be opening up space between the containers, align the text, and changing the font size of some of the elements. The process is pretty much the same as what we've done with the homepage. So let's resize, drag and drop, and put together the most efficient layout for the mobile view. As you can see, the whole process is very intuitive. So this is it. We've completed the portfolio website. We have an introductory section which gives us an idea of who the portfolio owner is. We've also got the showcase section to give the visitor a glimpse to the kind of work that we do, followed by the CTA section that allows us to capture leads and future clients. And at the bottom, we've got the footer, which serves as a segue for the social media accounts and contains the email address as well. Let's not forget the case study page and the fact that the whole website is responsive. So with all this, the website is now completed. At this point, we have scratched the surface on how Wix works, along with a few insights on how to create an effective portfolio website. I hope this helps you get the ball rolling and achieve great success on your site building journey. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.